As Poet Technologies' march toward commercialization continues, the company has more relationships to manage and more opportunities to seize. To help with that activity, Poet has just hired an experienced and very well thought of expert in the optoelectronics industry. Raju Kankipati is the new Vice President of Product Line Management, and he's here to discuss his role and what attracted him to Poet. Raju has most recently worked at MACOM, where he was the Senior Director at Product Management, with a focus on optical components, and previously he has been employed at Arista Networks and Cisco. My name is Adrian Bridgebassi. I'm a content and communication specialist for Poet, as well as an investor in the company. Raju, welcome aboard the Poet team, and thank you for taking the time.
Thank you, Adrian. I'm excited to be here.
Great. Now let's start with the big question first. Why would you leave an established company like MACOM for Poet Technologies, which is still in the early stages of its growth?
Right. As you stated, MACOM is an established supplier of optical components. But what really motivates me is how do you bring all these optical components and come out with innovative solutions that can help the industry move forward, right? I've been in this optical industry for over 20 years now, and one of the biggest challenges has always been packaging. So how do you bring these optical and electronic components and bring them together in a low cost and scalable manner? That is where the Poet Interposer platform comes into play. So as the speed and the density of components in these systems increases, so a solution like the Poet Interposer platform, I think the assembly of these components gets complex. So we need a solution, innovative solution to overcome this challenge. And I see a lot of potential in the Poet hybrid integration platform. So I believe with my experience, I can contribute to the success and be a part of this exciting journey.
That's great that you're here, and we're excited to see the work you do. How did you come to learn about Poet, and what was your first impression when you saw the Optical Interposer's performance results?
Sure. So most of today's photonics solutions are still pretty manual when it comes to alignments and scaling to high volume, right? So what that means is when you bring the light from the laser and try to couple it into the fiber, you have various elements like lens and isolators in between. And most of the solutions still use active alignment, where you kind of try to get the light out of the laser to the fiber by actively moving the lens and then bonding it down, right? So these elements, first of all, the assembly takes a lot of time, and time is money, right? And also, it's very expensive because you need to buy this expensive equipment, your CapEx increases. So what the Poet platform does is it dramatically reduces the assembly time and the cost, because all these elements are passively put on at a wafer level. And also, the other big benefit is the optical interposer can support the integration of several components on a single platform. It can be lasers, detectors, modulators, your optical mux, demux, and even analog and digital electronics. Everything can be put on a platform, passively aligned, and at a wafer scale. I think that is where customers will benefit when it comes to the bottom line for them.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Now, can you explain for our viewers what your role at Poet Technologies is going to be?
Sure. So I'll be heading the product line management organization focused on product management, sales, and marketing activities. So my primary focus will be to bring Poet's products manufactured by a joint venture Super Photonics to the high-speed data center market by working closely with customers. I'll be defining products, get the products designed in at customers, and work closely with Super Photonics to get them manufactured in high volume. So my wide range of industry experience, right, from optical components to transceivers and optical networking systems, I think can benefit Poet. And there are also other growing markets and applications which can benefit from the technology that Poet has to offer. So I'll be exploring and expanding on those technologies and markets, which some of the Poet management team has already started. And I'll also continue to explore and identify new opportunities and enable new markets with this technology.
That's great. And the photonics industry appears to be entering a high growth period as the demand intensifies for faster data transfer and more complex applications. What excites you about the photonics industry right now, and how Poet can impact it?
We are living in a world where the demand for high-speed data transfer continues to grow. If you look at some of the trends like artificial intelligence, machine learning, and high-definition video, I mean, this demand is not expected to slow down. So this provides a tremendous opportunity for photonics industry to innovate and address the market needs, especially in photonic packaging. I mean, the differentiation for POET in its hybrid integration platform, where it doesn't have to rely on one particular material system. The silicon photonic platform can work with multiple material systems. You have the indium phosphide, you have silicon, and even lithium niobate, bringing best-in-class components in a cost-effective and scalable package. I think this can have a positive impact in the overall industry.
Yeah, and we just learned recently that POET has a partnership with Liobate over in China. Now, do you get a sense that the industry is also getting excited about POET as word spreads about the company and what it's doing?
Definitely, I think definitely everybody is noticing, and so several large end customers, like the large data center customers, they have a vested interest in photonic integration solutions because it significantly impacts their overall network cost from a cost and speed standpoint. So they're always looking for innovative solutions that can cut the cost and scale to high volume to meet their needs. So POET's interposer solution is gaining industry attention as it can address the packaging concerns as well as it can scale to high volume manufacturing with best-in-class performance. It is the true semiconductorization of photonics where everything is done at a wafer scale.
I mean, that sounds pretty amazing. The word semiconductorization, it's a mouthful, but it seems like that's a transition that helps the world adopt more photonics technologies. Is that an accurate way of putting it?
That is true. I mean, it has always been a dream for optics to be where semiconductors are, right? Where if you look at the semiconductor industry, they've been shipping like billions and billions of units, right? And everything is done at wafer scale, and it's very high volume and low cost manufacturing. I mean, the photonics, we have to get there because the pace at which photonics is being deployed in various markets, not just data center, telecom, even other markets like LiDAR and your artificial intelligence, you need to get to that kind of volume and cost levels so that it can be a true semiconductorization of photonics. So we need to get there.
And you've just started at the company. Where do you see in a year from now? What's Raju's going to be? Your day like? Your projects? What do you anticipate being your work focus?
Right. As I said, right, my primary focus would be to define the products and bring these products to the market and work with customers to deploy POET's platform and work closely with our joint venture Super Photonics to get this manufacturing going and deploy these products in the field. I think that's the primary goal. The next 1 year, I will be super busy doing all of these activities and working closely with customers, partners, and suppliers to bring this product to the market.
That's great, and it's not all work. I'm sure you've got lots of things outside of work that you enjoy. What kind of things do you do, on the leisure time?
Sure. I mean, I have a great passion for robotics, and my kids are involved in robotics. So I have a nonprofit organization that I helped found along with a few friends. So we kind of promote robotics in elementary and middle school where people cannot afford because robotics is not cheap. So we try to help them, teach them how to get into robotics and help them participate in competitions. So that's one of my weekend activities I try to do. And I play badminton just so I get some exercise done.
That's great. That's great. And congratulations for the nonprofit and for such a fantastic issue as robotics. Obviously, it's going to have a big impact in the world going forward, and potentially POET can play a role in that as well.
Right, yeah.
Well, thank you again, Raju, for your time. I'm sure we'll speak again as POET achieves more and more of its milestones. And thank you to our viewers for watching. Clearly, there's much more news on the horizon for this company.
Thank you, Adrian.
Take care.